Shalom, family. It's your man Elijah. Thank you for joining me at Sectarian Wisdom again. And as usual, I am a wise, wealthy, rich, celestial being that is loved by the Most High Creator. Let's get it, family. I'm always making mistakes, huh? But yeah. Anyway, family. Last time we left off, where were we at? We were at chapter 2. Now we're at chapter 3, the flood of Atuma. Chapter 3, the flood of Atuma. That's where we at, alright? That's where we shall be reading today. Let's get into it, family. Let's find out about this flood of Atuma. Remember, I ain't read this, so we reading it together. Alright. The flood of Atuma. Behold, was this not written in the days of our fathers, and of their fathers before them, and given unto us that we should pass it into you? The children of days yet unborn, that if the ability of the scribe remains with you, it could be read in your generation. Read, O children of the unborn years, and absorb the wisdom of the past which is your heritage, the enlightening words from a past which is to you in days so far away and yet in truth so near. Oh, does that sound like what I was just talking about in the past video about time and how time is actually right next to each other, and whereas the past and the present are really happening right now? I digress. Let's get back to it. We are taught that we live forever, and this is true. But it is equally true that no moment of life must be wasted, for each hour and day on earth is a shaping for the future. We are the inheritors of a portion of time. We can dissipate it on futile things or utilize it. Okay, hold on, let me go back. We are taught that we live forever, and this is true. But it is equally true that no moment of life must be wasted, for each hour and day on earth is a shaping for the future. We are the inheritors of a portion of time. We can dissipate it on futile things or utilize it to our everlasting benefit. In the days of our fathers, before barren teachings clogged the thoughts of men, and vain formal ritual built a wall which obscured understanding. A wall, is it the ice wall? Men walked in the light of truth. Then they knew there was one God alone. But because they allowed their higher abilities to fall to disuse, they saw less clearly. Because he appeared in different aspects, they thought he was many. Because he appeared in different aspects, they thought he was many. Now, in our days, God has many varied forms in the eyes of men, and each declares he alone knows the true name and likeness of God. Here all men fall into error, though all have spoken truly according to their understanding. But truth can never bow to the limited understanding of man. The comprehension of man must expand to grasp it. In olden times, there were spawned, in other words, comprehension, raise your vibrations, man. Open your mind to something outside of the box, other than what you've been taught. In olden times, there were spawned great monsters and beasts in fearful form, with frightful gnashing teeth and long gripping claws. An elephant was but a rat in comparison with them. Then, because of heavenly rebellion and turmoil, and the terror overwhelming the hearts of men, the Great One hardened the face of the land, which had become unstable, and the beasts were changed to stone. Oh, man. That's, I'm gonna have to find some of those reaction videos, family. I've been seeing a lot of videos about, people showing faces of stone pieces, right? That look like figures. Matter of fact, I gotta make a note of that, family. Okay, hold on. I apologize. Give me a second. Make a note. Okay, and video reference. Video reference. Make video on stone giants found. Kolbrin Bible talks about people being, about the creator turning people to stone, turning giants to stone, giant beast. So make note of that. Video, find videos, TikTok videos on the various mountain ranges that have facial features. Sorry, family. Ideas come to you while you're on the prowl for knowledge and wisdom. Oh, I was about to stop. Okay, here we go. In olden times, there were spawned great monsters and beasts in fearful form, with frightful gnashing teeth and long ripping claws. An elephant was but a rat in comparison with them. Then, because of heavenly rebellion and turmoil, and the terror overwhelming the hearts of men, the Great One hardened the face of the land, which had become unstable, and the beasts were changed to stone. This was before times, when the destroyer still slumbered in the upper vaults of heaven. Thus it is written in the record of Belshazzar, in those days the people were wicked, and though the wise men among them gave many warnings of the wrath to come, they would not listen. Such is the way of the wicked. So it came about that the chastening spirit became stirred up against them because of the odor of wickedness arising from the earth. Hold on, let me go back and read that again for myself. Thus, it is written in the record of Belshazzar. In those days the people were wicked, and though the wise men among them gave many warnings of the wrath to come, they would not listen. Such is the way of the wicked. Sounds like Noah. So it came about the chastening spirit. So it came about that the chastening spirit became stirred up against them, because of the odor of wickedness arising from the earth. Odor of wickedness arising from the earth. For her nostrils abhor the smell of evil. This is a smell no man can know. For as the hounds know the smell of fear, which no man can detect, so can other beings know the smell of wickedness. The great floodgates which are above earth were all opened. The great floodgates which are above earth were all opened. The great dome, family. There we go. The great floodgates which are above earth were opened. Thus the flood waters rose up to cover the land, and great rainstorms lashed down. The winds could no longer discover their destinations. The people left the plain of Shinar and fled up into a great mountain rising above the flatlands below. And here, near the summit, they camped, feeling themselves secured. The wicked mocked, saying, "No water can ever reach up here, for there is not enough of it in heaven or earth." You know, as I think about that, about what I just read, there's a show on MTV, and this place is called the Plain of Shinar, and there's a show on MTV called Shinar Chronicles. And I remember the elves, their castle, the elves are like the top people in the land. Like, they had the most power. They were most civilized. And as it says, these people left the plain of Shinar. The show on MTV is called Shinar Chronicles, and fled up into a great mountain rising above the flatlands below. And here near the summit they camped, feeling themselves secure, and wicked mocked, saying, "No water could ever reach up here." And I'm just thinking, like I said, in the show Shinar Chronicles on MTV, the elves' kingdom, their castle, their capital castle where their king lives is on top of a hill. And a lot of times when you read biblical books or books of this nature, or like esoteric books and theology, sometimes they'll paint being rich and having all the jewels in the world and everything is really poor, because a lot of times people get money. They equate getting money to change, when in reality the change has to come from within. So if you took no time to change from within, before you got the money's only going to magnify the dick that you were before you got the money, because it was never an internal change. It was just an outwardly change. That's it. Anyway, so that's what I got from that, and just I mean, all these shows have so much stuff in it, but I just wanted to bring that up. The great floodgates which are above earth were all open. Thus the floodwaters rose up to cover the land, and great rainstorms lashed down. The winds could no longer discover their destinations. The people left the plain of Shinar and fled up into a great mountain rising above the flatlands below. And here, near the summit, they camped, feeling themselves secured. The wicked mocked, saying, "No water can ever reach up here, for there is not enough of it in heaven or earth." Still the waters rose ever higher, and the mouths of the wicked were silenced. The priests of the people danced and chanted in vain, and many rituals were performed to appease the wrath above. There came a period of quietness. Then the people built a gateway to heaven, wherein the chief of interpreters might commune with the other realm. He entered into the silence and cast his spirit, and when he had done so, it contacted the chastening spirit, which men call by other names. It sounds like he astral projected. It sounds like he meditated and astral projected his spirit into the spiritual realm to get in contact with the light beings, to, I guess, help them out, get transportation maybe or something like that. That's what it just sounds like to me. Her voice. Don't be out here astral projecting people. Look, find you a master. Look, I ain't done it, and I'm not saying I do nothing like that. I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying I don't. But at the end of the day, my master is Yahushua Mashiach of Nazareth, and the Bible says, "Do not go somewhere unless invited. Don't go the easy way, but go through the Messiah." If you're gonna do something, get to know the Messiah, read the Word, know the rules, know the laws. There's a reason why you do these things, because some people do stuff and they go crazy because they're not supposed to do it. Because with great power comes great responsibility, and know the Creator knows your heart. So you can't be. I'm just saying, because imagine if everybody in the world, if the world was like, imagine if the world we live in right here was truly like, let's say, Harry Potter or like Superman, and people have powers like that. What do you think people would do with those powers? Because most people these days, especially these days, they have no morals, they have no ethics. They would take these things and they would just go take what they want, kill, pillage, rape, steal, you know, causing all types of causing all types of havoc. That's, I don't even know, I repeated myself. I mean, fair use of myself of words. Anyway, but not a laughing matter, but of any of those things. But anyway, you get my point. So I just want to read what I just thought he was just saying. But here we go. There came a period of quietness. Then the people built a gateway to heaven, wherein the chief of interpreters might commune with the other realm. He entered into the silence and cast his spirit. And when he had done so, it contacted the chastening spirit, which men call by other names. Her voice was heard within his heart, and it said, "I am that which," hold on, I gotta read this again. It's there came a period of quietness. Then the people built a gateway to heaven, wherein the chief of interpreters might commune with the other realm. He entered into the silence and cast his spirit. And when he had done so, it contacted the chastening spirit, which men call by other names. Her voice was heard within his heart, and it is said, her voice, saying that the Creator is a woman, "I am that which has been called forth by the odor of wickedness, arising from the bodies of men, which no incense can disguise. For as the smell of putrefaction assails the nostrils of men, so does wickedness give forth something which assails us in this realm. Wickedness is therefore an offense against us. If a man threw filth over the wall into your courtyard, would you not consider this an act of hostility? Could any among you live in harmony with those who were insensitive to your own sensitivity?" Family, look, I just want to say, this is what I say once again about our understanding of love in today's realm. We've been taught that love is just the emotional part, the joy, and we harp on that. And, or like I said, or for a lack of a better term, but love to me is generally, like I said, three concepts, or it's love is three different concepts. The first and most important is respect, then the pursuit of your passion so that you can grow and develop the thing that gives you joy. The third aspect, what we do in today's world is we just find something that gives us joy, and then we place our emotions on it, and we say and we put that word on it, love, and we basically tell this thing that, I'm obsessed with you, you're my joy. So when these things go and they leave, what happens? It causes you pain. It takes away your joy. But that's only because you're doing something you shouldn't. You shouldn't let your emotions, drive you to not have a balance, to not have common sense in life, family. That's why what I felt like she was just saying, once again, it starts with respect. The people who have an issue with understanding respect is a part of love. If you sit here saying you love somebody and you smacking them around, like, come on, man. Excuse my language. I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, let me go back. Wickedness is therefore an offense against us. If a man threw filth over the wall into your courtyard, would you not consider this an act of hostility? Could any among you live in harmony with those who were insensitive to your own sensitivity? Thus I am awakened to happening in the world of men, and am now clothed in a performing substance. The Spirit being said, I have no desire to unduly punish men. Go out to the people and tell them that if they will but mend their ways and walk no more in the path of wickedness, I shall depart. But when the chief of interpreters returned to the people, he found them fearful and distraught, clay in the hands of false priests, devotees of the baleful gods. Devotees of the baleful gods. The false priests were crying out for a sacrifice to their gods, and had seized Annas, a young man more handsome than any other. This sounds like Moshe and coming down from the mountain when they made the cow out of gold. That's similar. Okay, so the false priests were crying out for a sacrifice to their gods, and had seized Annas, a young man more handsome than any other, a messenger and runner between cities. Then though they whispered fearfully among themselves concerning the deed, the people had seized Nanu, handmaiden of Eloma, handmaiden of Eloma, the enlightened one. The people had seized Nanu, handmaiden of Eloma, the enlightened one, whose life was dedicated to Elana, for she had cried out curses upon their heads when the young man was taken. Nanua and Annas were held by the false priest, and about them surged the great mass of the people. And though the chief of interpreters raised his voice, it went unheeded. Then the mass of the people moved down to the water's edge, and there they stopped, while the priest shouted prayers to the gods raging above. All the heavens were darkened with great rolling clouds, and there were high winds and lightning about the mountaintop. The people rent their garments. The women wailed and men struck their forearms. Annas was beaten with a club and delivered to the waters. Then, as he who wielded the club turned towards Nanu, she said to those about her, Let be I. She said to those about her, Let be. I will deliver myself to the waters. For if I must be sacrificed, I will be a better sacrifice so given. Then she went down to the waters, but as her feet entered, she drew back from the cold. Dark watery depths before her. But as the one who wielded the club moved forward, a young man, Shalut the scribe, a man of quiet ways, neither handsome nor strong in body, pushed forward and, taking her by the hand, went down into the waters with her. The waters had risen high, and men shared the place where they stood with wild beasts and with sheep and cattle. But now the tumult quieted, and the waters drew back. Seeing this, the people shouted praises to the baleful gods and cried out, Great are the mighty gods, and great their holy priests. Hold on, let me read that again, family. The waters had risen high, and men shared the place where they stood with the wild beasts and with sheep and cattle. But now the tumult quieted, and the waters drew back. Seeing this, the people shouted praises to the baleful gods, and cried out, Great are the mighty gods, and great their holy priest. The chief of interpreters went sorrowfully apart, hiding himself, for now he was fearful for his life. When the waters had subsided, he cast his spirit and entered into the communion with the chastening spirit. And he said, Shall I also enter the falling waters as a sacrifice? For life is now futile, as I am without God or honor. The great one answered, Men see in events the things they wish to see. They can interpret only according to their understanding. The waters rose to their limitation and did not fall because of the needless sacrifices. Hold on. The waters rose to their limitation and did not fall because of the needless sacrifices. The powers above may ordain events to chasten men, but more often such events are challenges and tests. However, divine intervention is rare indeed. These priests follow a longer path, but they too condemn wickedness, and they too point the way to truth. Though the way may be indirect and beset with hazards, so whether they or you reach the ears of the people, the odor of wickedness will be diminished. Divine ends are achieved by diverse means, and the eyes of few men are open to see either the means or the end. That sounds a lot like the Creator takes the bad. What the enemy meant for bad, the Creator takes and turns to good. And I mean, there's even, I forget which part of the Bible, which book it was. Might be in Proverbs. But the Bible even talks about, look, sometimes life, fate gets you. It's not always fair for everybody, but that's why you have multiple go-arounds. But you got to watch your karma, because each time you do better, each time you come back, you're in a better position. That's what's explained to me. And I believe that to be the truth. So you got to watch your karma. But then eventually it sends to the point where you don't come back anymore, because then you're ready to go home. Okay, so let me go back. Divine ends are achieved by diverse means, and the eyes of few men are open to see either the means or the end. Life is never futile, but your sacrifice would be. No man can lose his God, for he is always there. But the prestige of a man, because of that God, such prestige is a worldly thing of little real value. How do you know whether you have lost or gained? Events of the moment cannot be weighed in the moment, but can be assessed only by the judgment of the years. Only eternity knows whether this or that was good or bad, a gain or a loss. Then the great one opened the eyes of the chief of the interpreters. So he saw beyond the earthly border into the realm beyond. Behold, he saw Annas, who had been strong and handsome on earth, and now he was something not pleasant to gaze upon. He saw also the true beauty of Nanu, who is now a being of dazzling loveliness. And beside her was Sheloat, who had always loved her secretly, and he was now glowing with youth and handsome as Helith, the chief of the interpreters, then understood that evil could be transmuted into good, and that men... The chief of the interpreters then understood that evil could be transmuted into good, and that men had little knowledge of the true nature of things. Upon the mountain there is now a grove of trees, and a temple built in the form of a circle of white stones, where the people remember the day of their deliverance. But what they recall and what happened are not the same, nor is the cause in their minds the true cause. They say, We are children of Atuma, who saved us. Many who have gone often to the temple of deliverance say they have seen two shades, one radiantly beautiful and one gloriously handsome, wandering hand in hand through the trees or sitting in the sunlit glades. All about is now a place of peace. Men walk under the shadow of dread, and fear of unknown powers fills their hearts. Man walk under the shadows of dread, and fear of unknown powers fills their hearts. They have fashioned images in the likeness of the things which frighten them, in the gloom of their ignorance, and they spun the real for the unreal. Did they see more clearly, they would know. Did they see more clearly, they would know that the things they fear are but gentle and sturdy hands, which can lead them to fields of contentment. All right, that's the end of that chapter, family, and we're gonna save. We're gonna save the rest for later. We're gonna stop there, and we'll pick up another time, family. Thank you for joining me in Sectarian Wisdom, Unsectarian Wisdom again. I'm your man Elijah, and as usual, I'm a wise, wealthy, rich, celestial being that is loved by the Most High Creator. We got it, family. Catch you later.